Welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson, and we've got an exciting show for you this week. We are going to take you out on Lake St. Clair for a layout hunt chasing after some diver ducks. But before we get to that, Jimmy and the guys have some other excitement in store for us.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show. We're going to take a break from the hunting and actually kick off this week's show with some fishing on Saginaw Bay. Gabe Van Wormer was recently over there, and they are really catching some fish if you want to take a break from the hunting. After that, we're going to have time for some natural resources news, let you know what's going on around the state of Michigan, and we're also going to have time for a bragging board on this week's show. Lots of good stuff. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. By Eagle Claw Chappelle, offering a line of pop-up and flip-over shelters and the new cabin-style Bay Runner 2. Chappelle also offers a selection of sleds, including the new winter camo pattern jet sled. Eagle Claw Chappelle, we have you covered. On the web at chappelle.com. By Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen.
We all have one, that perfect spot, a special place we go to smooth out the ripples of the day. Our perfect spot is calling. Our perfect spot is Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
It was a cold late fall day when I met Jason Maraskin and Tyler Andrzejewski at Linwood Beach Marina on Saginaw Bay. Though there was snow on the ground, the lake wasn't quite making ice yet. If you can resist the urge to deer hunt for a day of fishing, it's often well worth your efforts.
Yeah, we're going to go out and see if we can chase some walleyes. Fishing's been hit and miss. They're pocketed up right now. When you do find them, you're getting some pretty nice fish right now. Water temp this morning is 36 degrees. Over the weekend we fished. The water's pretty dirty. We're hoping it cleans up and fish cooperate today.
The great thing about fishing Saginaw Bay in the fall is that these walleyes are staging just off the river mouth in the inner bay. So, short runs are the norm for this time of year. Ty and Jason were setting lines in no time. Big baits trolled very slow are the ticket for walleye that are putting on the feed bag before the ice comes.
Well, it starts off usually late September when the water temperatures start to cool down, and you'll see all the perch fishermen out here September chasing those things around. And as the temperatures start dropping, the walleyes from up north start making their way back from the Charities, Alpena, that area, and that's when you start running the bigger crankbaits in here because they're starting to bulk up for the winter and put some weight on, and you drop your speeds down pulling these bigger crankbaits. Today that's what happened. The wind died down on us, so we were basically pulling at 0.9 to 1, and we got them to trigger. As you can see, a nice solid fish for the Saginaw Bay. I mean, it's going to look good for the future here. For this time of year, I mean, 3 to 5 pound is very common without, a lot of 8-pound fish have been taken out of the system already this year. We've got quite a few buddies that fish the system that are charter captains. They've been taking some very nice fish. Today, that was probably one of our best fish, right up there in the 8-9 pound range. So it's looking up. As long as old man winter doesn't set in on us here and freeze it up on us, we'll be out here right till the day it ices up.
It's nice and easy. Don't want to horse these fish because they're not biting real heavy right now, real light biting. We're staying between 0.9 and 1.1 mile per hour. These fish are really lethargic. The water temp's only 40.7 right now. So, in the early spring and the late fall, slow is key. You got to go slow. And it just seems that That 1 to 1-1 is magical speed.
Another nice Saginaw Bay walleye.
The deep diving husky jerk was back in the water for a matter of minutes when the board sagged back with another nice fish on the line.
This is the same depth and the same bait that just caught the last fish, 20 foot back on the same color. So it's telling me that these fish are pretty high in the water column right now. You know, they're not very deep.
A little better fish.
Just landed the third fish in the morning. Fishing is not easy right now. It's pretty tough. It's a slow bite, but we've had some big weather fronts in. This is a little bit better fish, maybe 22, but a nice chunky fat fish. The last two fish, actually all three fish in the morning have been really high in the water at 20 foot back. So that's telling me that these fish are suspended high. So we're gonna get them in the box and get back.
Last year we were able to fish right up till December 28th before finally the ice moved in on us and we were unable to get after them. I was just telling a story the other day. We went out on Black Friday when the wife was shopping and we were breaking ice to get out of here, and we thought we were done then, but the winds picked up and freed it up for the rest of December. We were able to get out the rest of December and get after them, and they were piled up pretty nice in here in the inner bay before they shot up the river.
This technique is fairly simple to use. Using large deep diving stick baits with inline planer boards, lines are set to the exact lead length which will determine how deep the lure will dive. Using the troller's Bible, depths can be accurately duplicated. Once you find fish on the graph, you can set your baits right above them in the fish's strike zone. It's a targeted approach to trolling that is highly effective.
Just hooked up again.
Double. Mad chaos going on in the boat right here. Another fish right here. The line. Oh, we got another one hooked up.
It's kind of triple, huh?
Triple one up
Got
here.
triple going. This feels like it's got some shoulders here.
Steer him a little. Steer him back. Alright, we get some control all day long. Fish. Walk back there. There we go. Nice. Another dandy. Alright, here's our last flurry. We tripled up. That ended up being about a 7-8 pound fish. We put the scale to it, so not bad. That's how fast it can be out here in the fall on the Saginaw Bay.
All happened in about 5 minutes. Fun times.
For some people, trolling can be somewhat boring, but the sight of a board-sinking walleye hit is what walleye fishermen live for, and it's very addicting.
Yeah, these fish are in pods out here this time of year, and once you find them, you just got to keep going back over them. And you know, the weird thing here is this one's at 100 foot back, which means the line is out 100 foot from the board back to the lure. For the other side of the boat, we've been getting them at 20 foot back, so it's a variation where the bait is in the water column today.
We just hooked up on the stern planer, our long line rod. I believe this is 30 back too, so another high line. It's crazy today how all the fish are. We're getting them really high and we're getting them really low. There's nothing in between. They're either very, very high in the water column or very, very down towards the bottom in the water column. The stern planers are homemade stern planer. You know, we make them ourselves. What this does is we send this water bottle, so to say, out straight behind the boat. That way, if we get a fish on our boards, this stern rod will be able to fish behind the planer boards without having to clear it It's out of the way, but it's still fishing, where we don't have to bring this line in the boat every time we get a fish. This is still out fishing, still able to be in the water, so to say.
Although the word is out and there's a lot more boats than normal this fall, there's still nowhere near as many anglers this time of year. During the week, you might just have it all to yourself. If you want to try this fishery, be safe, because the cold water is unforgiving to mistakes. And don't forget to bring along some salt for the icy ramps. Special thanks to Jason and Ty for letting me tag along. And if you want to go through the trouble of cold water fishing, it can be very rewarding.
For those of us who are lucky enough to live in the southeast part of the state, we have a world-class duck hunting opportunity right here in our backyards, and that's at Lake St. Clair. I was able to head out with some good friends for a layout duck hunt. In late November, I headed over to Harrison Township near Lake St. Clair. A few of my good friends invited me to tag along on a layout duck hunt they had purchased with Flatsman Charters. I was really looking forward to spending some time with my old friend Matt Stutt, because wherever Matt is, there's bound to be some laughs.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is a lot like snowmobiling. We already got tools out.
Gotta make sure we put the drain plug in the layout bolt. That's key.
Oh, drain plug would be key. Good call.
Have you done this kind of hunting before, Matt?
Nope. I've done my fair share of missing ducks, standing up, sitting down, so I thought I'd try laying on my back today.
I like that.
So,
Cool. All right. Who do we have coming with us today? Uh-oh.
well, here's our buddy who's going to be late. Where are you at?
So Aaron, what's the plan? You have this boat that we're calling the mothership. You've got
Yes.
the layout boat, and you've got a tender boat too.
Correct.
Where is the tender boat?
Captain Jerry took the tender boat down to the area we're gonna hunt this morning. He's just waiting around, kind of holding down the area, and we're gonna go meet up with him and then launch the layout boat and set up the decoys and put some hunters in the boat and shoot them up.
All right, sounds good.
Leaving out of the Clinton River, we're gonna be heading south, Lance Cruise Bay area, and hopefully we're gonna shoot a bunch of ducks.
Yeah, there are a bunch out there?
Yeah, yesterday was really good, so anticipating a good show this morning.
Cool. All right. And there were lots of ducks in the air again this morning. While the hunters waited in the mothership, Aaron and Jerome made quick work of setting the decoys.
Today we put out 11 dozen decoys on mother lines and then about a dozen single wrap decoys. We try to keep the decoys from the back of the layout boat forward so ducks aren't landing behind you, but we try to keep the layout boat in the decoys so it kind of helps hide the layout boat. Divers typically fly really low to the water, so they can't pick out the silhouette of the layout boat due to the wave action kind of covers the layout boat. Today we were using a 2-man layout boat, and we had 4 hunters and 1 camera lady who needed to have a crack at one of the seats. For the first round, Matt joined Jim Holzgen in the gunner positions. It took him a couple of minutes to get dialed in, and then they started dropping some of those quick-moving Lake St. Clair diver ducks. Hey. One thing was for sure, hit or miss, they were having lots of fun out there. Once a duck was hit, the guys would hold their fire, and Jerome would slip out in the tender boat and scoop it up for the game bag. It seemed like so far this morning, the only ducks we had seen in the decoys were buffleheads. Aaron says there are a couple of factors that determine which kinds of birds will come into the spread. Lake St. Clair has a lot of different species of diving ducks. Buffleheads, which we shot a bunch of today, to redheads, canvasbacks, bluebills, golden eyes, even some sea ducks, old squaws and scoters.
Cool. And how do you know which kind are coming through or what you're going to get out there?
It varies day to day. Wind direction plays a lot into the birds in Lake St. Clair. Predominant south winds, they usually go to the lee side of the lake. We pretty much only hunt in the morning. That way it gives a chance for the birds to come back and roost. It doesn't push the birds out of the bay. And so far this season, they haven't needed to hunt the afternoon. If conditions are right, Aaron and Jerome can put guys on their limits after just a few hours in the morning. It was time to swap hunters, so the guys picked up Matt and Jim while Mark Nixon and John Poe got ready to get out of the mothership and into the layout boat. I've known John for the better part of 20 years, but I've never known him to hunt ducks, so I just had to ask. Are you a big duck hunter?
First time up.
Really?
Yep, I'm the rookie of the group.
What do you think of all this so far?
It's great so far. Looks like they're getting some good action, and it's a good morning for it.
Nice. Now, have you done any shotgunning before for anything else?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Okay.
This is first time duck hunting.
All right. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
It happens pretty fast out here. Our shooters who were on their way back had just shy of their 2 limits. While John and Mark were out chipping away at their daily limits, I caught up with Jim and Matt. Pretty fun?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would recommend it to anybody.
Great time.
What's one tip you'd give to somebody who hasn't tried it before?
Do your sit-ups.
It's just being able to shoot is all, because you're not calling them, so there's not a whole lot of skill involved other than just being able to shoot.
And these guys were all shooting very well. John and Mark were adding to the stringer of ducks, which all happen to be buffleheads today. With just a couple more birds left to fill the daily limit, Jim hopped back in the layout boat to finish out the morning. And that last duck would round out the day. These guys all got in plenty of shooting and were happy to call it a day and head in for lunch. Well, everyone except Matt, maybe.
Today's activities are a lot like a holiday feast. It takes all day to prepare, and it's over in 15 minutes.
That may be true, but just like a good holiday gathering, today held the perfect mixture of close friends, lots of laughs, new traditions, and memories you can't buy right here in Michigan's Out of Doors. In natural resources news, a 4th whitetail deer has tested positive for chronic wasting disease here in Michigan. The deer, a 1.5-year-old buck, was shot during bow season on November 10th and taken to a DNR check station for testing. The deer was harvested near DeWitt, Michigan, which is outside of Lansing and not far from Meridian Township, where the 3 other deer had tested positive for CWD earlier this year. Chronic wasting disease is a neurological disease contagious among deer, elk, and moose. In light of the recent CWD issue here in Michigan, new law prohibits importing deer from CWD-positive states and provinces. There are currently 19 states and 2 Canadian provinces listed on the DNR's website. Hunters who harvest deer, elk, or moose from these places are prohibited from bringing the entire carcass into Michigan. What is allowed are the antlers, deboned meat, hides, finished taxidermy mounts, and antlers attached to a skull cap as long as it's clean of all brain and muscle tissue. The DNR recently seized 6 deer from hunters attempting to transport their deer into Michigan that were harvested in Illinois and Wisconsin. Violation of Michigan's wildlife importation laws may result in fines of up to $500 and up to 90 days in jail. If you have plans to hunt out of state this year, please check to see if your destination is classified as CWD positive and follow any laws that may apply. In other news, data is in regarding the changes to this year's deer season in the Upper Peninsula. With no doe tags offered this year, hunters were strictly after bucks in the UP this season. Overall, license sales were down in 2015 by around 10%. Last year, around 70,000 licenses were sold compared to about 63,000 this year. DNR check stations across the UP showed a slight decrease in the number of deer harvested this year, but most of the bucks coming through the check stations were 3.5 to 4.5-year-old bucks. That's a good indication that after a few severe winters that took a toll on our deer populations in the UP, the herd is finally starting to look a little healthier. And in the interest of keeping the UP's deer herd as healthy as possible, a new campaign is being launched this week to keep the UP free from CWD. While 4 deer have tested positive for the disease in the Lower Peninsula, the Upper Peninsula remains free of CWD. Officials are concerned that CWD could be introduced into the UP by people hunting in other states and bringing their game back into the state. The DNR is hoping to educate and inform hunters traveling into the UP with billboards, bumper stickers, radio and TV commercials, and any way possible to create awareness and hopefully keep the UP free from CWD. Folks looking for more information about the spread of CWD can visit the DNR's website. In other news, the DNR is seeking information on an elk that was illegally killed in southwest Otsego County. On November 16th, conservation officers discovered the carcass of a bull elk that was poached and then abandoned just west of Lewiston. The Law Enforcement Division is asking for help regarding the incident. Anonymous tips can be made by calling the DNR Report All Poaching hotline, found online or on the back of every hunting and fishing license. Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you check us out online next time you get a chance. You can do it a couple of different ways. You can hop on our website at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. You can check out episodes there as well as wild game recipes, a little bit of history of the TV show there too, or on our Facebook page at Michigan Out of Doors TV. We have a lot of fun left in store for you yet this year.
Well, make sure you do join us next week. We've got a lot of good stuff on next week's program. We're going to kind of round out the deer season. We're also going to do a little waterfowl hunting. And we're going to show you what happened last week for the opening day of the late elk season in the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula. And just as a little tease, take a look at this video. This is the hunter that I was following, and it is the opening morning of the elk season. He's got a full week to hunt, and he has a bull tag in his pocket. Now, do you wait and be pretty selective, or do you shoot the first good bull that you see? Well, take a look. What would you do in this situation? It's a very good bull, but we could not decide whether or not it was a 6x6 or not. And from what all the guys at the ranch had said, they said don't shoot anything less than a 6x6 on the first day. Well, it's pretty hard looking down the scope at an animal like this and not pulling the trigger. But did he or didn't he?
He's facing to the right. There's the, yeah, see, okay, the other one just stood in front of it.
Well, you're just going to have to tune in next week and see what our hunter did and whether he pulled the trigger or not. Such a great time up there in northeastern part of the Lower Peninsula. Hey, make sure you join us next week, and if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, we'll hopefully see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Jay's Sporting Goods with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's, serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jayssportinggoods.com. By the Ultimate Sports Show Tour, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 7th through 10th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, fishing trips, fishing boats, and seminars on every Michigan game fish. The Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit, January 7th through 10th. By Propane, Clean American Energy. Propane retailers promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas energy in homes, farms, and businesses across our great state. Learn more at usemichiganpropane.com. Closed captioning is provided by the Michigan Propane Gas Association. Clean American Energy. Propane realtors promote the safe use of Michigan-produced gas to outdoor enthusiasts across our great state.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man.